Hey everyone, Robert Ferringo of Doc Sports here with my main man, Raphael Esparza, with your football betting bonanza. And we have one of the biggest weekends of college football coming up. I know you're excited, Raphael. I'm excited. If you're watching this video, that means you're probably excited. So click on the link above or below. Take advantage of the free $60 that we are giving you at Doc Sports to be used on any handicapper for any sport in any package. But let's be honest, right now, football is king. And Raphael, speaking of the king, Alabama, mighty number one. Could mighty number one fall this week? There's a whole host of big games, so many that we're not even going to be able to get to, like LSU, Florida, Kansas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, TCU, some very big games. But this Alabama-Tennessee game really has to be front and center for a lot of people. Heading into Knoxville with a backup quarterback is a very dangerous Volunteers team. Raphael, is number one about to go down?
I know a lot of James Madison people are upset that you didn't mention their game this weekend. They're 5-0 and 5-0 against the spread, but that's Robert Ferringo. His email address is Robert at, but not. But no, this is a great game. This card for Saturday has got me excited for football. And how often do I actually say
Never.
that to you? That I can't wait for some of these games. And like I said, there were so many on the list that we could have done a 4-hour show to talk about the games on there. But this one should be exciting. And I think Tennessee can hang around, get the upset, cover the spread or something, because they have offense. And if Alabama struggles like they did last week, I know they're probably going to have the Heisman hopeful on there. But how healthy is he? That defense could be very, very tired in the fourth quarter with Tennessee. They're going to wear the gray jerseys. Can't wait to watch them running around because they're going to score a lot of points. They may score a amount of points as UCF just scored again, as they did last night. They may score 70 points against Alabama's defense. This one's going to be exciting. I can't wait to watch this one.
Yeah, that line is starting to creep up. Is that indicative of the fact that Bryce Young probably is going to play?
Yeah, it's all about Bryce Young. As soon as I saw he was playing, I was happy. I was happy he was playing because if I can take 7.5, maybe even move it to, because as I said, it's an afternoon game. This is not the stupid Big Ten time slot at noon, but this is a afternoon game, so maybe some more money will come in on Alabama. So I'm hoping this one keeps on climbing up because I like Tennessee to cover. I would not be shocked if the Vols win this game.
Now, you know my approach when it comes to Alabama. I will either bet on the Crimson Tide or I will not bet on the game that they're involved with. I do not bet against Nick Saban. I do not bet against his crop of talent. I tend to agree with you that I think the points look mighty enticing right now. I don't think that this Alabama team is necessarily a juggernaut like we have seen in years past. However, Alabama 14-3 against the spread in their last 17 games after not covering the spread. Saban likes to take care of those boosters and beat those numbers. And they've absolutely dominated Tennessee in Knoxville, going 9-1 against the spread in their last 10 games at Tennessee. Now, you mentioned the Big Ten and their stupid time slot, the noon kickoff. I kind of like it because it gets us going.
I had to vent on something in this video.
I have a feeling that's not going to be the last thing, though. Penn State going to Michigan. Penn State coming off a bye. They are also getting 7 points, another top 20 matchup that features a touchdown spread similar to that Alabama-Tennessee game. I know a lot of sharp people really like Michigan in this one. I was a little surprised. I thought that this would be a little bit more of a stay away for some people. Penn State 7-3 against the spread on the road. Again, coming off a bye. What's your take here with the Nittany Lions and the Wolverines?
On paper, Michigan's a better team. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. Michigan's defense is almost as good as it was last year. And they lost a lot of players from last year. They're improving week after week after week. I like Michigan. Am I going to bet it? Is it one of my plays? No, because I think the number is just dead on. -7. I mean, if you like Penn State, then I think take the +7. If you like Michigan, I think it's just a bad number for the Wolverines. But I do believe they squeak out a victory. Would not be shocked if they win by maybe 6 points or less. But I like this Michigan Wolverine team. I was really impressed last week. I mean, I know going to Indiana is not that big of a task, but they played well, held in Hoosiers to only 10 points. And then what they did against Iowa. Iowa's defense is always stingy. And they put up 27 points against the Hawkeyes defense. So I was really impressed with those two games. And let's face it, Penn State barely beat Northwestern, which means you can find 10 guys and probably put up more points against Northwestern than Penn State did last week. I like Michigan, but not that number.
in your mind, has Michigan finally turned that corner under Jim Harbaugh? Are they finally among those elite Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, perennial top 8 teams in the country? Are they? They lost a lot of talent from last year, yet here they are knocking on the door of a Big Ten title. You are obviously impressed with them. Do you have enough faith in Harbaugh? He's done it before, did it in Stanford. Do you feel like they really have the level of talent and confidence where they have turned the corner and they are going to be one of those perennial powerhouses?
If they beat Ohio State again this year, then I would say that they've turned the corner, and this is something that we need to look at year after year. Because if you beat Ohio State back-to-back years, that's for recruiting wise, that's going to be huge for Michigan. So they're getting close to turning that corner for me. I think Jim Harbaugh is done looking for that NFL job. I do believe him, unless for some odd reason the creme job opens up where he has a quarterback, he has a defense, that maybe that team went to the playoffs or something. Which I don't see that job opening up. But I do believe he's going to probably stick up at Michigan and ride the horses out there for a while.
This is the game that's going to prove it for me. I'm still not buying Michigan because I still think that they played a joke of a schedule. Okay, I'm still not there yet. I'm not taking anything away from what they've been able to do, but I'm not buying in. I'm leaning Penn State a little bit in this one. I do think that it's going to be a close game. But again, Michigan, you run down that schedule, there hasn't been an impressive performance for me yet from them. So we're going to find out a lot about the Wolverines by about 4 o'clock it's college football, so it's 4.5 hours. So by about 4:30, we'll know who the Wolverines are. I feel like we know who Clemson is, right? Powerhouse Clemson. Everybody kind of forget about the Clemson Tigers. Only -3.5 on the road at Florida State. I will admit that Sunday night when I was looking at these lines, I wrote down Florida State, and then by Tuesday I was like, what the hell am I even thinking here? Like, Clemson, for all that they aren't, okay, and for all that they have been knocked, they have won 12 straight games going back to last season. What am I missing here with Clemson? I know everybody wants Florida State to be back. Everybody wants Florida State to be that powerhouse team. They're coming off back-to-back losses. They had Wake Forest in a golden spot, letdown spot at home, lost by 10 points. They were facing NC State's backup quarterback for the second half last week on the road, and they lost that game. Why would we think that the Seminoles will beat Clemson in this game, Raphael?
Yeah, and they should only have really 2 wins. That LSU win, that could have easily been botched, and they could have lost that game to start off. I agree with you. I don't understand this. If NC State was able to run the ball on Florida State's defense last week, what is Clemson going to do? That's their bread and butter right now. They finally realized running the ball is their bread and butter this year, passing second. If they can run the ball on the Seminoles defense, I don't see this being a close game. I like Clemson on this spot. I think their defense is playing lights out, held in BC at Boston College. That's a tough place, not only to steal a road win, but to pretty much almost shut them out to a field goal. Was very impressive on that one. They held NC State to 20 points. I understand that the Wake Forest game was a nail-biter, but that was pretty much an air offense. And let's face it, Clemson's not going to beat you on the air. They're going to beat you on the ground. So I don't look at that as much as a close game. But I don't see this one being close. If Clemson can run the ball, which I do believe they will, I think they win by 6 points, touchdown maybe.
They haven't been close. Clemson's beaten them 6 times in a row by 10 points, 31 points, 49 points, 17 points, 3 points, and 10 points. So 5 of the last 6 games have been decided by double figures. I really don't see what has changed in the calculus of this matchup to make me think that Florida State is going to win this game outright. And Raphael, this is one of those things that you and I talk about a lot. If you're betting Florida State, don't bet them because you're getting that extra half a point and maybe it's a field goal game. If you think Florida State is going to win, you take the money line. Florida State. Okay, right. Like, don't bet thinking that you're going to sneak in the back door with some 2 or 3 point win. But if you don't think Florida State's going to win this game for the first time in 7 tries against Clemson, then you got to take the Tigers. So we're going to stay in the ACC. And Raphael, you sent me about 27 games that you wanted to talk about. All right, we had to kind of weed through them. You bet your ass we're going to talk about my Syracuse Orange, baby.
I put that on there for you, baby.
Big top 20 matchup NC State rolling up to the Carrier Dome. I know that's not the name of it right now. It's the
It
it's
should
the
be.
something where don't even care. It's always going to be the Carrier Dome to me.
I
And that
agree.
place is going to be absolutely rocking on Saturday for the first big game in a long time for the Orange. Now, I have to tell you, this is one of the most surprising numbers of the weekend to me. This is one of the numbers that jumped off the page at me when I was looking at these numbers earlier in the week. Syracuse, a surprising favorite in this game. Now, I understand that NC State quarterback Devin Leary is questionable. I'm not expecting him to play. But even so, do you think the odds makers had this one right? Should Syracuse be favored in this game?
What, they looked dominating last week against Wagner. They should be heavy. No, I thought it was if I thought NC's or Syracuse was going to be favored, I had it around maybe 1.5, 2, a small favorite, but 3.5, really 3.5. Struggled against UVA, beat up on Wagner, not the oatmeal guy, but Wagner. No, I'm not sold. Now, if they win this game, then I'm all over the Syracuse. I'll call you. Hey, give me an orange shirt. I'm sold of the Cuse right now. They're dominating, big win. But I just like NC State on this one. I think their defense is going to bother Syracuse. They're not going to put up 50-plus points like they did with Wagner. They're not going to be. Their defense is not going to stifle UVA on this one. It's going to be a nail biter. I think in the fourth quarter, I think the Wolfpack come out strong, and I think I have them winning by a field goal.
Very surprising, but someone on our site actually has a big play on Syracuse in this game. A little surprised to see it. Do you think that there's something to be said about the hangover effect potentially for NC State after that bit? You know, they played Clemson 2 weeks ago, coming off the big win over Florida State. You know, maybe they're not ready for what is going to be a rowdy dome up there in Syracuse. Can you see the Orange winning this game?
I mean, I do believe that they can win this game, but like I said, their schedule for me has not really. They haven't won that big game. NC State played Clemson. They have a deeper schedule. I think they have the better athletes. No offense to Syracuse. No offense to your friends who all went there. Don't be emailing me, calling me. But I do think the Wolfpack, I think in the second half, are going to make those changes on the D side. And I think that's what's going to hurt them. I think Cuse is going to have a hard time putting points on the board in the second half.
I do not think Syracuse is going to win this game. Frankly, I'm stunned. There's no way that Syracuse is one of the top 20 teams in the country. I think their ranking is kind of ridiculous. I think they're going to play hard. That emotion. We've seen this from Syracuse before. A few years ago when Clemson came up there on a Friday night. I believe Clemson was the number 1 team in the country, and Syracuse took it to them. Syracuse is capable of jumping up and biting someone. But I don't think they should be favored in this game for all the reasons that you suggested. What was it? Their big win over Connecticut. They shouldn't have beaten Purdue. They lucked that game out right there. They struggled against Virginia, and Virginia's pathetic. So Syracuse really hasn't done anything against any quality competition. Where, as you mentioned, Clemson's already beaten Texas Tech. That's a good Texas Tech team. They already played Clemson. They already beat pretty good Florida State team. They have kind of proven themselves. I wasn't expecting Leary to play at all this week, but their backup, Jack Chambers, is a guy. He was a multiple-year starter at Charleston Southern. I know that doesn't, make your socks roll up and down, but this guy's thrown over 900 passes and for over 5,700 yards in his college career. He's played some college ball, man. He's not going to be scared of this moment. When you put that better talent and experience that NC State has around a guy like Chambers, I think he's going to perform. Now I'm reading that Leary may play. If he does play, I don't think there's any doubt who the better team is in this.
I don't think he
really is going to be a fascinating game. I don't think he's going to play either. I think that a little bit of this is some smoke screen. I'm not expecting him to play, but it's going to be interesting to see what news of him maybe playing will do to the line in this game. All right, last game we're going to talk about, we're going to head out west, and another line that kind of jumps off the page is Utah. Coming off that I want to say it was a bad loss. It wasn't a bad loss at all. UCLA is a really good team. UCLA beat Utah, ending any of the modest hopes that your Utes had for maybe backdooring their way into the college football playoff. They drove a stake through the heart of that last week, but No letdown here for Utah because they are hosting a top 10 USC team. Utah favored in this game. Raphael, what these are your Utes. What should we expect from them?
It's gonna be weird to see mentally how they come out, because I think the players know that they lost a big shot of a big bowl game being mentioned and stuff like that. That loss was devastating to them to UCLA. UCLA's offense put up 42 points. Remember what happened to Utah defense? I mean, they held the Beavers to 16, the Sun Devils, I think, to 14. Where was that defense at last week? UCLA carved them up. And now you have to go against USC, who's got some tall receivers that hit hard, that has very, very speed all over the place. I got to root for a Pac-12. I want a Pac-12. I want a West Coast team in the playoffs this year. So I still have two left. I got UCLA and USC. I like USC. I just don't think. I think the mental game of Utah might be deflated right now.
So you think there's value taking USC with the
Yeah.
points here, maybe some USC money line. The public is obviously going to be all over the Trojans. Do you feel like it's a little bit of a red flag line that Utah is favored here, or do you not really pay attention to that stuff and you just see value with the Trojans?
I'm waiting. It's a late game. I think it's an 8 o'clock kickoff. Not that noon horrible Big Ten kickoff. It's an 8-1. So I'm going to see what the money, because the chasers will come in. We've seen chasing all last couple of weeks, especially some big line movements in the late college football games because people are chasing. If I can get maybe +4 and stuff like that, I would probably look at maybe jumping on USC, because I think a lot of Utah money will come in. They're at home. They're at Rich Icy Stadium, which is a hard place to steal a victory. Ask BYU. BYU always struggles there. It's a loud stadium. The fans are so intact, pretty much on top of the field. But if I can get any more points, I'm going to take a shot at the Trojans on this one. I want nothing to do with Utah. I think mentally, like I said, I think they're done mentally.
All right, two more games that we're not going to be able to deep dive into, but which one of these two games do you think there's more likely to be an upset? We have Mississippi State heading to Kentucky in SEC country, and we have another top 10 team in action, Oklahoma State as an underdog against a suddenly hot TCU team. Which one of those games is most likely to provide an upset?
I'm gonna take Kentucky. They're getting healthy. Levi's supposed to play this game. Kroger Field's a nice home field now. All of a sudden, the fans and the supporters are there cheering them on. I'll take Kentucky plus the points.
I've been riding Mississippi State hard all season long.
I know you have.
Sticking with my Bulldogs in that one. All right, Raphael, we can't let you out of here without giving the people a little love, man. Give them some for free. What do we got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that game, Oklahoma State TCU. I'm going to take the over. I think we're going to see a lot of point scorers with a total 68.5 and open up at 68. I thought this number would have been 70. I'm thinking when I did my numbers, I'm like 70, and I put a question mark thinking maybe 69 will come up, but maybe I was just wishful thinking because it's my birthday month. But I thought it was going to be around there, so I still think we're going to see value on the over. I think a lot of points, a lot of touchdowns will be scored in that game.
That is one of my rated plays that I released, was the over in that game. I agree with you. I had that number around 72.5. And even at there, I think, this is just going to be a classic Big 12 barn burner shootout back and forth. That is what I'm expecting. My free play, I'm taking Utah. I agree with everything that you're saying, that you have to wonder about where they are mentally. However, if it was any opponent other than USC, I would think that they might have a letdown this week. Okay, but I think that their national title dreams are dead. Their college football playoff dreams are dead. They could still win the Pac-12, though. Adding a win, an upset win over a top 10 Trojans team would be a nice feather in the cap of this season. Utah, as we have talked about time and time again, they're just a completely different team when they play in their home stadium. Okay, you get all those crazy Mormons going nuts, doing wacky things. And Utah has been known to run people out of SLC, okay? USC, they almost lost at Oregon State. They won last week against Washington State, a little front door cover that hurt me there. They only outgained Washington State by 50 yards. So this Trojan team, I think, has been a little bit out over its skis. I think that they're a great team, a lot of talent, love Lincoln Riley. I don't see a real national championship contender when I look at this group. And I think that this is the week that reality kind of punches them in the face. So, All right, he's Raphael Esparza. I am Robert Ferringo. This is your Friday college football betting bonanza. Be sure to check out our NFL Friday football betting bonanza, and be sure to take advantage of that $60 free over at DocSports.com. Until next time, carpe diem. Good luck.